Okay, so first things to be, pozdravljeni. We just discussed that we understand what we're talking, but not the written word is a bit. So this is the conclusion of the 9th season of ALUO events, guest lectures. And I'm very happy to introduce our guests from Academy in Wrocław because we will discuss an important topic for all of us, doctoral education in art. And firstly, I would like to invite Jakub Jernajczyk, the Dean of the Doctoral School in Wrocław, to begin. And then we also have 4 students, doctoral students, that will present their projects. And thank you.
Hello everyone, it's nice to meet you. My name is Jakub Jernajczyk. I'm a professor at Media Art Department and also the Dean of our doctoral school. And today I would like to tell you some things general about our academy and especially about our doctoral program. Our academy, Eugeniusz Geppert Academy of Art and Design in Wrocław, has already 77 years old. I found it will be a surprise, but already I know that you are 1 year older than us, so congratulations. But if we add a German history of our academy, it will be a bit longer. What is characteristic, if I may say, for our academy? I think it's keeping balance between tradition and modernity. We already have 5 faculties. The first is Faculty of Painting, the second one is Sculpture and Art Mediation, the Faculty of Interior Architecture, Design and Stage Design. We also have a Faculty of Graphics and Media Art. And the 5th one is Ceramics and Glass. And of course, we have an extra autonomic unit, which is the doctoral school, which we represent here today. Doctoral studies in art, which are sometimes called practical PhD in art, have been conducted at our academy for over 10 years. But in 2018 there was a significant change in Polish higher education law, which enabled universities to create doctoral schools in a very flexible way. One of the important part of this change was that every doctoral students receive a monthly pretty high salaries, scholarships, which should allow them to focus mainly on the doctoral projects, not on some life troubles, which are very, of course, necessary in this period of life. From the very beginning of creating our doctoral school, we decided to educate only in English and to be open for the doctoral candidates from all over the world. So far in our doctoral school, we have doctoral students from countries such as Austria, Brazil, China, Greece, Great Britain, Italy, Mexico, Romania, Slovakia, Spain, Sweden, Thailand, Turkey, and of course Poland. Not from Slovakia yet, but maybe soon in the future as well. We are the largest doctoral school in Polish art academies. 8 PhD students graduated this year, just I think last few months. They defended their PhD thesis. And 23 more of them are still studying on 3 years of education. That's because we've got 6-semester system of education in doctoral school. Just as I said, like our entire academy, the doctoral school may also be characterized by keeping a balance between respect for tradition and openness to new trends. On the other hand, attachment to the classical workshop and crafts. On another, experimentation with new technologies. And also keeping a balance between artistic practice and theoretical reflection. So we do not order the only right direction of development of each doctoral student. Some of them are very active in international artistic community and exhibiting leading works galleries. Among them there are also modern designers and classical craftsmen. We also have socially engaged artists and the researchers who are operating on the border of art and science. So generally we try to give a space for all possible creative approaches in the broad field of visual art. The direction of development of each doctoral student is determined individually in cooperation with the supervisor. At the same time, the doctoral school offers theoretical and methodological support that prepares them to plan and create research projects, to present their achievements professionally, and also to write scientific or rather scientific-ish texts. Last year, our academy, as the only art academy in Poland and Europe actually, received a substantial equivalency certificate by NASAD, the National Association of Schools of Art and Design, which is an accrediting organization for art schools in the United States. So it means that our degrees, including doctoral degree, are recognized now as equivalent to some of the world's best art and design degrees, especially in USA. And in 2021, we received a significant funding from the Polish National Agency for Academic Exchange for internationalization of our doctoral school. So this project includes extra scholarships and internships for our doctoral students, invitations for visiting professors, reviewers and lecturers from abroad. What else? Also some training courses for doctoral students and our academy staff. And also the study visits to foreign partner institutions, and under such a visit we have this opportunity to visit you, which I'm very thankful and happy for. And actually, last thing I want to add, but I have to change the picture. Yeah, it's that also under this project, as a part of this project, we will also organize in late September 2023 the first international conference, Methodological and Cognitive Aspects of Visual Arts. And of course I want to invite you to visit the conference website and maybe consider your participation. The open call is still running till the end of June, so please check it. And this is everything from my side. Now I will ask our PhD students to present their own doctoral projects, individual doctoral projects, starting with Zofia Pałucha. Thank you very much.
I hope you don't mind if I sit. It's going to be easier for me to cooperate between those two computers. Okay. Hello, everyone. It's so nice to be here in Ljubljana. Thank you for having me. My name is Zofia Pałucha, and I'm a third-year doctoral student from Eugeniusz Geppert's Fine Art Academy in Wrocław. And my supervisor is Dr. Anna Kołodziejczyk. The title of my doctoral thesis is Search by Image, Stream of Consciousness as a Tool and Practice of Contemporary Figurative Painter in a Digital Age. Today
I would like to tell you a bit about my practice. The presentation consists of 19 paintings that are shown chronologically from the most recent to the oldest. First of all, why did I choose this topic? From early childhood, I was convinced that there's only one career path that I can follow, and it was becoming a painter. Since my dad is a figurative painter too, I was always surrounded by artworks. Early on, I realized that this is a different form of language with which we can transmit different kind of informations that we can't transmit via speaking or writing and reading. Figurative painting always have been a natural form of expression for me. During my master's degree studies, I've constrained myself with painting in a very specific manner, which at some point made me gasp for air, and I realized I can try to paint whatever will suit me at the moment. After this realization, I came across the works of Virginia Woolf. I thought, am I trying to do the same but in painting? And I've decided to investigate the case. The main purpose of my art practice-based research is finding out what are the characteristics of stream of consciousness used as a tool in practice of contemporary figurative painter in the digital age that we're living in nowadays. The final result will be a solo show consisting exclusively of oil paintings. The research already consists of 46 paintings. In my research, I'm focused on creating an extensive body of work consisting exclusively of oil paintings on canvas, analysis of the process of making a sketch using the graphic design and AI programs, searching the web for amateur pictures that I can incorporate to my artworks. Analysis of what might have influenced my own stream of consciousness during the process, and analysis of the final artworks, which paintings have the most interesting approach to the current times. Let's talk about the main themes in my doctoral thesis: stream of consciousness, figurative painting, and digital age. Figurative art describes any form of modern art that retains strong references to the real world and particularly to the human figure. The digital age refers to the period of time marked by the widespread adoption of digital technologies such as computers, the internet, and mobile devices, and the resulting transformation of social, economic, and cultural structures. The digital age is characterized by the ability to store, process, and transmit vast amounts of information quickly and efficiently, as well as the ability to access and share the information globally. This has led to profound changes in the way we work, communicate, and consume media, and has created new opportunities and challenges in nearly every aspect of society. The digital age began in the late 20th century and continues to evolve rapidly, with new technologies and innovation emerging constantly. Stream of consciousness is mostly known as the narrative technique in literature used mainly by Virginia Woolf and James Joyce. Woolf explaining her literary tool. Examine for a moment an ordinary mind on an ordinary day. The mind receives a myriad impressions trivial, fantastic, evanescent, or engraved with the sharpness of steel. From all sides they come, an incessant shower of innumerable atoms. And as they fall, as they shape themselves into the life of Monday or Tuesday, the accent falls differently from of old. Life is not a series of gig lamps symmetrically arranged. Life is a luminous halo, a semi-transparent envelope surrounding us from the beginning of consciousness to the end. Let us record the atoms as they fall upon the mind in the order in which they fall. Let us trace the pattern, however disconnected and incoherent in appearance, which each sight or incident scores upon the consciousness. In psychology and philosophy, we can come across multiple views on what stream of consciousness may stand for. Psychologist Edward Bradford Titchener stated that stream of consciousness is a complex of mental activities changing and flowing in time. James Angel, a functionalist, stated that stream of consciousness is a succession of states, each real yet different in quality and kind from each other, not just different combination of mental activities. A psychologist and philosopher, William James, stated that stream of consciousness is a personal participation in universal cosmic consciousness. Philosopher David Hume said that stream of consciousness is a flow of personal experience. Behaviorists stated that it is an epiphenomenal byproduct of continuous brain functioning, and Burgos Frederick Skinner that it is a matter of schedules of reinforcement provided by our social environment. Neurosurgeon Wildell Penfield said that stream of consciousness is a subjective awareness correlated with brain functioning, and Sigmund Freud that it is a set of emergent properties of characteristics. What sources influence our stream of thought nowadays in the digital age? First of all, social media, platforms like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Second of all, news media. Traditional media outlets such as newspapers, television channels, and online news sources. In my case, mainly political podcasts. Third, online publication and blogs. Fourth, peer influence. Fifth, books and literature. Myself, I am a huge fan of audiobooks. I'm listening to audiobooks almost every day during work. And sixth, a personal experience. How do we think with images? In 2017, study led by Eleanor Amit and Evelina Fedorenko of Harvard Medical School found that even when they are prompted to use verbal thinking, people created visual images to accompany their inner speech, suggesting that visual thinking is deeply ingrained in the brain. In earlier research, Amit and colleagues found that people tend to think visually about things that are close to them, temporarily, socially, or geographically, but use inner speech when contemplating far-off things. The fact that we are thinking with images about things that are closest to us led me to a theory that with stream of consciousness used in figurative art, we can find new ways of interpreting our current times and the problems that bother us the most. We can, for example, analyze our political situation, such as problems in the European Union. We can also meditate on our physical state. In recent years, we've been through a COVID pandemic. We also have different problems of our own that illustrate our contemporary health problems in a wider spread. It can let us to cope with our traumas and let us talk about them in a way that is easier for some to deal with. A figurative painting can be closer to oneself, also in terms of being relatable to the author. Through the statement, we can say that stream of consciousness as a method in painting can lead to sincerity and authenticity. As Nicholas Callas in Madness in the Arena article in Art Forum 1977 said about Kantian philosophy. In a philosophy based on intuition, that what truth is to science, sincerity is to art. How we can create stream of consciousness figurative painting in the digital era? I think the best way to incorporate stream of consciousness into our practice as a figurative painter is to let our subconscious flow and be influenced by all the stuff surrounding us. We can't constrain ourselves while creating a sketch for a painting. Some of the characteristics of paintings made using the stream of consciousness technique are the significance of titles. Titles are as important as all the visual elements that the painting consists of. They create another layer of meaning. Another characteristic of stream of consciousness in figurative painting is that paintings alone and match with one another tend to change their meaning, sometimes drastically. A pop culture-based painting can become a social or institutional critique. Stream of consciousness as a technique is a main denominator for a plethora of different aesthetics. It can lead to a body of work consisting of a widespread variety of different painterly issues. So, why I think my research is important? Personally, I think that the most important thing for a contemporary artist is to be experimentative. Because only experiments can lead us to extending the knowledge about figurative painting and to let us discover new ways of spreading the information and thinking about the word nowadays. Thank you very much.
Okay, just give me 1 second. Okay. Hello everyone. Thank you for welcoming us all into your academy. It's nice to speak to you today. So, before I proceed, my work is mainly based around video. So there'll be a lot of video on this, but I've kind of grafted some PowerPoint slides onto it. So it won't look necessarily sleek, but I hope I can communicate my project to you sufficiently. So, this title, sorry, I am Jack Williams, that's important. This title of my research is Misinformation as a Form of Experimental Writing. Personally speaking, I have always been interested in experimental writing for about the past 10 years. My educational history was kind of related to these kind of forms of writing, concrete poetry, found text, etc. But currently I make video poetry which merges video art and text along with each other. So I'm also interested in misinformation because this is kind of a contemporary topic. We are flooded with misinformation these days, whether it's through politics, through speeches, or through social media. So I thought this was a nice kind of merging of ideas. I will show you the first video project which I managed to crystallize during my PhD research. This is called The World No Longer Makes Sense, and it is coming up soon. Okay, so this is the very beginning of the video. What you have here is kind of like what I would describe, it's kind of similar to Jenny Holzer, one of her kind of truisms, if anyone is familiar with that artist. So I began with this kind of simple statement, which people could apply to many things that's going on in the world, but as you see, I am approximating a form called asemic writing. This is where, this is like an art form where the visual nature of the language looks like language, but it doesn't have any actual semantic content or meaning. And as you can see, this language is slowly transforming, and this was designed as a way of looking at the language of conspiracy theorists, particularly how when we are not initiated with their conspiracy theory, the language that they use seems completely abstract to us. So this is kind of a commentary on the language that they use and how it is kind of impenetrable, and it looks like, you know, coherent because it uses words and language that we recognize, but the actual formulation of it is abstract. So this is kind of a macro critique of, I will turn down the volume because it gets very annoying, the sound design, purposefully of course. And yeah, this kind of imagery just becomes gradually more abstract, just to highlight this kind of rabbit hole effect. Once you once you see people who are deeply entrenched in conspiracy theories, the language and the kind of concepts that they espouse become increasingly abstract and kind of impossible to decipher. So this is the first experiment I did with asemic writing, and the second one is coming up. This is again a form of asemic writing, but this time using subtitle files. I should point out that the videos you see are excerpts joined together. It's not the full video, so should have said that at the start. But these are subtitle files overlaid on top of each other, and I got these from YouTube. They come from subtitles from the Joe Rogan Experience. If anyone is familiar with this podcast, it was in trouble quite recently for platforming individuals who spread misinformation, whether that's related to COVID or the Vatican or any number of topics. And what happens here is, so the text is all legible in the subtitle files, but I have overlaid it on top of each other to turn it into an abstract form of writing. But another thing that I like about this is the different pace of the subtitles. It creates a very febrile, kind of angry, massive text. And this video was called "Nothing is Something I Can't Have." It's because these conspiratorial voices are eventually becoming so overpowering that we can't ignore them. And the kind of messages they espouse are not peaceful ones. So we have this, we want to kind of shut out these kind of peripheral voices, but they are kind of everywhere. So there you go. And this is based on the idea, once again, that when you come across conspiratorial thinking, it is just abstract and impenetrable. So what I'm going to talk about now is a form of experimental writing called constrained writing. I'm glad that Zosia mentioned constraint previously. Because this has formulated the experiments in the second year of study. So we'll talk a bit about constrained writing, and the reason why I'm using this is because I wanted to use actual legible language and turn this into an abstract form of writing. So constrained writing, I consider it a subset of experimental writing, and it's just basically where you impose a rule which governs the writing process, which restricts it. And you can see there are some forms that we will recognize, such as acrostic. We've all seen acrostics, probably did them in primary school. Haikus, again, probably did those at school. And then you have certain limitations on the amount of words you use. Something like nanofiction is literary works with less than 500 words. And the first one, lipogram, this is where you do a piece of writing, but you exclude a particular letter. So these are very much about form as far as I'm concerned, but there's other forms which focus on technique. Dadaist poetry, maybe one of the first forms of experimental writing, and this is where you cut up a newspaper, put it in a hat, and then you pick words out at random, and this will form a poem. Similarly, cut-up writing, this is the William Burroughs kind of style. It's kind of taking existing sources of writing and turning them into a kind of collage, again with very abstract results. And blackout poetry, a form of visual art where you redact or black out the majority of text on a page with the remainder of the text forming the poem. So I moved towards this because I wanted to work with actual legible writing. Because I felt that the previous works that you saw were kind of a bit too much of a macro examination. They didn't really get into the specifics of how conspiracy theorists communicate, which is online. It's primarily done through text. So I thought it would be nice to, focus on actual language. So I hope this, okay. So I didn't immediately focus on misinformation and conspiracy theories for these writing processes. I firstly wanted to initiate myself with this idea of constrained writing. So this this was a long process to make this poem. What I did here was I went on YouTube and you know these auto-generated subtitles. Yeah, this is constructed from auto-generated subtitles from words which were incorrectly generated. So the speech in the video, you get, I think we've all experienced this where we sometimes get very different speech from these auto-generated subtitles. So yeah, this is all from incorrectly generated words from subtitle files, and yeah, this was also exclusively made using football highlights videos. So you have these two constraints that I applied to the writing, and it took an extremely long time. There was hundreds of words, hundreds of videos, but eventually I got to this text. So I think it's important to mention that this misgenerated text kind of qualifies as machine-generated misinformation. Of course, my thesis wants to focus on user-generated. But yeah, it has some relevance, but again, this was just an experiment to see the demands of this kind of writing. And because I'm a video artist, I thought I would try and convert this into video. Now, yeah, this is a problem with working with totally legible text. I have this desire to do something original with the text, but in this case, this is an incomplete project. In this case, I felt that I didn't get it right, because the language is supposed to be like the star of the piece, and the image is supposed to be supplementary, in my opinion. But really, I feel like there is too many visual contrivances here. It kind of detracts from the power of the poem. The poem was originally about, you know, it was about wealth disparity between left and right. And in this format, I kind of, yeah, I don't feel like the words have the same kind of potency. So this is one of the struggles of my artistic practice, because this took a long time to try and animate or try and find something new to do with video poetry, but yeah, sometimes you can get so mired in this idea of innovation that that you start to feel badly towards the artwork once you spend so much time on it. So I feel, yeah. So that was my initial experiment. Now I'm going to talk about misinformation and why constrained writing has a particular relevance to this field. I always want to have a marriage between concept and the concept of an artwork and the technique. I think that's always kind of important to me. You saw it previously when I was working with asemic writing, the technique of this asemic writing related to the lack of coherence in kind of conspiratorial thinking. So when I had looked at conspiracy theories, I believed that they had a kind of ideological constraint, that the force of their belief, speaking particularly with QAnon, if you're familiar with this, I hope not too familiar, but yeah, there is an ideological constraint that happens once you are really, really entrenched in anything like a conspiracy theory or politics or, you know, even religion. The weight of your belief and the force of your belief causes this kind of cognitive constraint where you can't think of opposing views or even opposing language. And that's very much proven to be the case with the research. For example, in conspiracy theories, they have what's known as a closed belief set, which is just basically where you can't accept any information which goes contrary to your conspiratorial beliefs. And sometimes the opposing information is framed as part of the conspiracy. And similarly, we have this word, crippled epistemologies, which, yeah, it just suggests that the ability to accept knowledge is just completely halted and disfigured by this kind of belief. So yeah, this manner of constrained thought bleeds over into the way that conspiracy theorists communicate with each other, because mainly they are spread out across the globe. You know, they are kind of isolated figures. So text is one of the main ways in which conspiracy theorists or adherents communicate with each other. And part of the problem with my project is that there's been a big crackdown on misinformation within social media, particularly with Facebook and YouTube. So it's difficult to find this text which is espousing misinformation because tech companies are particularly quick to remove this misinformation. So I don't have a wealth of it, but when I was looking, for example, on YouTube videos which had yet to be taken down, or Elon Musk's version of Twitter, I could, when I was analysing this language, I found it, oh shit, okay, sorry, sorry, I'm British. Okay, yeah. So basically, the language used in conspiracy theories is extremely tautological, which means they basically say the same message, but with different words. And this is just a big problem for my research because I want to make interesting works using interesting language, but in these communities you don't have this. So this is the main challenge which I am going to try and overcome. I know I'm running over time, so if you have any questions about this afterwards, please ask me, and I apologize if I spoke too fast or too much. But I hope you got some impression of my project. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I put the clock on, so I hope that I'm going to be on time and you still have some energy to hear me. First of all, I would like to thank you for this opportunity, and also I would like to mention that this is not the first time I'm in Slovenia. Oh no, I spent like an entire week trying to figure it out and I keep on mixing it. I'm really sorry, it's not on purpose. It's just, that's why I use images, because sometimes I struggle with words. Yes, it's the second time I'm visiting your country. I'm gonna get shy now and won't say anything. Because we have a great project. It is the cooperation between your university and our Academy of Fine Art, and it's the video installation we are presenting on Svetlovna Guerrilla Festival of Light. Yeah? Was it kind of proper? At least I hope that you know what I mean. So I'm really happy that we are here, and I'm really amazed by your openness, your friendliness, but also how professional the cooperation was. So thank you for that, and thank you for having us right now. The subject of my PhD is tenderness of the art and working with interactive immersive installations. And the promoter of my project is Jakub Jernajczyk, who you have already met. And there are 3 points of my doctoral studies. It's the roots of immersiveness, the relation between human beings, and also the aesthetic that I explore, which mostly is based on natural phenomena and what we can observe in the natural world. Firstly, I work with interaction and with technology, because I think that if some parts of your art piece are interactive, the viewer can delve deeper into the art piece. But what I noticed from my practical point of view was that actually the receivers of the art, they just don't delve deeper, they just play a game. They're trying to find the guidelines, how the art piece is working, and they don't put any more attention to the meaning, to the aesthetic. So this is what I'm discovering. I discovered that mostly when you have the figure of yourself, you really try to find some connection, and also if you have an art piece which is sensitive towards you but doesn't depend on you, so there's some independency of the piece, and also you can feel the influence. Then you have more, you drive deeper, you get more immersed into the art piece. I'm working with the relation between reality and the virtuality, because I think it's really interesting that we we find it so easy to implement the technology into our everyday life. We use our phone, we use the GPS to navigate ourselves. We also talk with virtual figures. But when it comes to interactive pieces, art pieces, and also to generative aesthetics, we are kind of not so sure if you want to perceive it. That's why I'm trying to find some features which are responsible for us perceiving it more deeply. When I'm trying to analyze this tension, I work with prints, 3D prints, and the real object, because there are some parts of my PhD project which are strongly influenced by the philosophy, especially by the philosophy of nowadays day, like object-oriented philosophy or speculative realism. So sometimes I think that objects are a great metaphor for our inner states, and this is what I want to implement in my art pieces. I want to show the mental landscapes of people around me. So what I gather from outside world, from the natural phenomena, is mostly the rhythm and its stimulating effect of the person. Because when I was looking at the people being in nature, I saw that they are really calm and they feel like a part of the environment. And this is the feature which I'm using as a base for my installation works. I'm also working with words, with poetry, because it's a beautiful way to transfer the inner state into something what others can perceive. I want to tune the technology, that's why I'm putting the text on those screens, and I saw that actually, because technology is so present in our lives, people find it easy to interact with this text written in that way. I'm also working with installation, meaning that I perceive the art piece as an entire situation of perception. This is why I built some small situations with my screens. So here you have a clock, like a morning clock, some note, and the poetry written just here. Yeah? Here is another one about love and being rejected. So I think it's really easy to associate this way of installation with something what we all know from our everyday life. Speaking about immersiveness, which is another leg of my project, I'm working with screens because I saw them as a really important part of the installation. Here is me in the Fordham Museum where I had the chance to show my visuals, and here you can see the immersive room of Fordham Museum in the National Museum in Wrocław. Here's another screen from the exhibition. It's a cave exhibition, so 4-channel installation. And I saw that depending on the size of the screen and the size of the room, you have to merge your visuals with such a space. Here is another space which I'm working really often with. This is the concert value and the value for contemporary art. I'm creating their visuals. It's in my home city. It's a really beautiful place to be. And I love the combination of music and my visuals because we really fit together. And I also discovered that it strengthens the immersiveness of the situation. Here are some drafts of the aesthetic I'm basing on natural phenomena. And what I love is the idea that actually all my receivers can link it with their own experience. So they delve deeper into the art piece, they start to perceive it, they start to associate it, and look for the answers in themselves. So that's something beautiful, and I'm really happy about it, that they are discovering some guidelines how to read my pieces. And I think that immersiveness is based on multisensational experience. That's why I'm merging music, situation, space design, and my visuals. That's why I told you about this venue with music, with which I cooperate. And I also perceive the receiver of my art piece as a part of installation. That's why I use interaction, and because I want to influence the viewer, I want to show him that he's important and he's part of this artistic situation. I hope that I made everything clear and short and you enjoyed my speech. Thank you once again.
Just a moment, I need to change this screen. Can I make it extended but not duplicated? If someone can help me with the language. Or maybe from here.
Not this one, lower one.
This one?
No,
this one?
Yeah, this one? Yeah, I would go for
And right or left? This one.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I will also sit, if you don't mind. So my name is Alperen Şahin, and I'm from Turkey, and I'm living and studying in Wrocław. And the title of my thesis is Keeping It Raw, Spatial Interventions. And my supervisor is Maja Wolinska, Professor Maja Wolinska. She is also here today. And yeah, firstly, I want to talk about the field of work that I'm working in. I work mostly in between the space and the new media arts. And I call my work spatial interventions. I also find this name more suitable for my works because instead of using like installations, because I think there is like some difference between these words. And the most important part of my works is like the approach that I'm using, which I call the raw approach. And to create these projects, I work with electronic tools, I work with some stage design materials, and I also do audiovisual live performances. So this approach has some aspects such as embracing the inherent imperfections and raw qualities of the materials and tools, finding alternative spaces to intervene. So even though I sometimes work with like galleries and like museums, I mostly try to find like some other places, some like underground venues or other interesting spaces. Also, I take the spaces as something to transform rather than using them as just containers of an artwork. And lastly, it's also like one of the important parts, I use free play during the creation process, and this free play is a term that's used in child's development, and it means that like when a kid has like their toys or like whatever like environment they're in, they just create their own way of playing around, and like there is no rules, there is nothing to follow, but it's just like mostly kid just improvising and making up its own game. So that's also like what I try to do. I develop some tools and try to play them in the space to come up with ideas rather than just having a planned project. So yeah, to be able to like create these things, I developed some tools, and some of them are generative images, which are programmed in digital environment, and I also work with custom-made light systems, and I also work with audio.
These are most of the time automated and also ready to be controlled live for live performances. And I also use some like non-electronic materials such as fabrics, ropes, chains, and sometimes just anything that is laying around that can give me an idea. So I will show some of the works that I've done. And this is an event that I organized in Wrocław. It's in a nightclub called Chavo, and the project here was mostly like the event itself, which includes like my installation on the main stage, which has generative visuals and moving lights and shadows, as well as the live performance, which is connected to the installations. And I also invited some other artists that played music during this event. So I see this like whole organization of event as the artwork itself. These are some still images from the moving lights and shadows. And I will show you. Here, this is the hardware that I use to animate these lights in the space. And on the left side, you can see the Arduino circuit, which I was using to control the intensity of the light. And on the right, there is this robotic arms that are enabling the light sources to move in the space. So I, for example, during that project, there is like this connection between the performance and the light systems, and which works like I mostly control the audio, and from the software called Ableton Live on the right, sorry, that I can send signals to other softwares, and that in that way I can control some parameters. And on the left there is the software that I usually use for controlling the visuals, and these can be synced. And these are some controllers that I use just for the sake of momentary expressiveness, because I think it's more convenient than mouse and keyboard, which is like quite limiting for like if you're working in the digital environment. And sometimes, like often, these controllers pile up until they look like a control surface of a plane, and it just gets massive somehow. Yeah, so sorry, going backwards. So yeah, these are some setups that I use for the live performances. Here is another project that's also for another event, and I have created the stage design here, and also this object, which is also mapped with generative visuals. And I also created this wing shape, which was also like important part of the concept. With like I collected some autumn reeds. These I don't know how to name them. Like they are called reeds, and these plants. And here is a video of how the image looks like. So yeah, these images were created generatively in a way that I can changed some parameters to go into different modes. Here there is another project which happened in Survival Art Review in Wrocław, which is kind of like a festival that takes different abandoned buildings every year and turn them into some kind of art review places. And I selected this place, which was the attic of an abandoned hospital in Wrocław. And for this attic, I worked with this black fabric. It was like 15 meters long, and I shaped it in this organic form, which is also stapled with the wood glue. And also for this installation, I used some, I used surround audio, so it was like to create this ambient in the place. Here is a video for that one. The video is a bit conceptual, but you can hear the audio. Okay. Here's another project that I use the idea of moving lights in the space, which can animate the lightings and also the shadows casted by the objects. And this event happened in Palác Kožanów in Poland during a festival, a music festival. And I chose this place on the right, which was like a room full of thrown away furnitures and unused items. And this was the setup that I used. Instead of robotic arms, this time I used LED stripes and some DMX light systems, which was controlled with the software on the right. And here is a video from that one. This one was without audio because there was already some noise coming from the festival, and it was kind of matching with it already. Okay, yeah, so, and finally, using these techniques, using the combination of these techniques, I will create final ambient intervention, which the structure of it will look like this. So there's the computer, and then there's some softwares interacting with each other and controlling the speakers, projectors, the light modules. And they are also interacting with the physical installations. Yeah, and also this automated installation can turn into a live performance. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much.